Will somebody tell me if we're supposed to start the program?
Freeman hits the ball to right field.
Into right field. She is gone.
Oh, what a pass. Doncic, perfection there on the assist. A little magic from Doncic.
Stafford takes the shoulder, takes a shot downfield. It is caught by Nakua. He picked him on his shoulder and made the catch.
One-of-a-kind player. One-of-a-kind season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Jumping in on the count. LeBron James at the buzzer.
This game's in the Admiral refrigerator. The door is closed, the lights out. Butter's getting hard, the eggs are cooling, and the jello is jiggling.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the LA Sports Roundup Podcast, presented by Lace 'em Up Sports. I am your host, Mike Andrade, sitting here recording live February 4th, 2026. It is a Wednesday. I hope you guys are having an amazing time, an amazing day, an amazing morning, an amazing week, an amazing year, and wherever you are listening, I hope that you are well. Today, we're going to get into a lot of topics, and as usual, LA Sports, we're going to get into what happened with the Rams, as the Rams, a couple weeks ago, lost in the NFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks. I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks, so this is a podcast that's a couple of weeks too late, but we're going to talk about what happened with the Rams against the Seahawks and how the Rams are moving forward quickly already, as there already has been some moves made for going forward into the 2026-27 season for the Rams. But we're going to talk a lot about the Lakers coming up, the NBA trade deadline. We got some Dodgers news and notes as we are going into spring training already. Can you believe it? Spring training already for the LA Dodgers, the back-to-back defending World Series champions. We're already heading into spring training, which is unbelievable to think about. But before we get into all those topics, again, guys, like, hit, subscribe, follow us on all of our social medias at Lace 'em Up Sports. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X. Of course, if you're listening to this, you're listening on Spotify, you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can listen on YouTube, you can watch us on YouTube, you can also watch us on Spotify as well. Isn't that remarkable? But make sure you hit like, subscribe everywhere you can find at Lace 'em Up Sports. It is much, much appreciated. And of course, for all you wrestling fans out there, we have our Wrestling with Ryan and Mike podcast out and available, guys. We just finished recording another podcast recapping our thoughts on the Royal Rumble and much, much more other WWE, AEW related items. Our thoughts heading into WrestleMania. So be on the lookout for that. We have a lot of content coming your way, guys. So just keep on the loop for everything coming out from Lace 'em Up Sports. And remember to follow us on all those socials. A week and a half ago in Seattle at Lumen Field, the LA Rams 2025-26 season came to a crushing end in the NFC Championship game, falling 31-27 in a heartbreak loss to the Seattle Seahawks in one of the most dramatic finishes of the NFL postseason. Both offenses moved the ball very efficiently as the Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford and Seattle's quarterback Sam Darnold kept defenses on their heels, and you got to give it to Darnold. In his first season with the Seattle Seahawks, starting at quarterback, delivered one of the biggest performances of his career, and you got to give him a lot of credit. He was basically thrown into the gutter from the New York Jets, from the Minnesota Vikings, and you had got to give him a lot of credit from the naysayers saying that he could not get the job done in a postseason game, and boy, did he get the job done, finishing the night with 346 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and proved to be the difference maker in the final outcome. Leading MVP candidate Matthew Stafford of the Rams also had a brilliant game, going 22 of 35 for 374 yards and throwing 3 touchdowns himself. The lead kept changing hands multiple times as LA responded to every Seattle momentum surge and at times felt like the Rams were poised to take control. Stafford had his offense clicking, spreading the ball around and keeping the Seahawks defense off balance. but in big moments, Seattle found ways to make just enough plays. A key turning point came early in the third quarter when a Rams special team blunder, a muffed punt by Xavier Smith, gave Seattle prime field position and led the Seahawks to a touchdown down the field. That play swung momentum in Seattle's favor and basically was one of the death nails in the Rams' coffin. And basically, in the NFL postseason game, in a playoff game, you absolutely cannot have a blunder like that on special teams, and it cost the Rams dearly. The Seahawks had momentum, but the Rams kept fighting back as Stafford engineered scoring drives, including a touchdown connection to Davante Adams. LA even got a big play when Puka Nacua hauled in an incredible catch in traffic to keep the Rams in striking distance. But in crunch time, the Rams could not convert on a fourth down conversion, and that gave Seattle the final nail in the coffin where Seattle could pick up the victory and lead themselves into Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara this upcoming Sunday. For the Rams, it's a bittersweet ending to the season as they had their sights set on reaching the Super Bowl and winning it all basically. But the Rams themselves had a great season. Yeah, we had some highs, we had some lows. There was a couple moments in the season where it didn't look good, but there was also moments in the season where you looked at this team and you said, wow, this is a Super Bowl contending team. Obviously, Matthew Stafford has had an MVP quality season, and he has had one of the best seasons of his career. And his decision-making process into whether or not he's going to return has not been made yet. But the fact is that Matthew Stafford is still at an elite level in his career. And if he so chooses to come back to play for the Rams next season, the Rams are pretty much guaranteed to have themselves at a top spot in the NFC. Could the Rams bring back Davante Adams on a longer-term contract? And what are they going to do with their draft picks? Are they going to try and rebulk their secondary, which I think is a top priority for the Rams going into the NFL draft? Who else in free agency could the Rams sign to bolster their team? And if Matthew Stafford doesn't decide to come back, where do they go at the quarterback position? A lot of questions need to be answered still on their roster, but the Rams have made a little bit of moves on their coaching staff and in the front office. Per therams.com, the Rams have signed General Manager Les Snead and Head Coach Sean McVay to multi-year contract extensions, the team announced on Monday. As we enter their 10th season together, it is only fitting to reflect on the tremendous success Sean and Les have brought to the franchise and the indelible impact they have made on Los Angeles and the NFL, said Los Angeles Rams owner and chairman E. Stanley Kroenke. They continue to embody the standard of this franchise to compete for championships, consistently delivering a product that our fans and the city can be proud of. Their collaboration embodies the we then me ethos we seek in our players, coaches, and staff, and we are thrilled that they will be leading the Los Angeles Rams for years to come. Now, the details of their contracts have not been made available yet, but it is a great sign that the Rams have come to terms with, not only Les Snead leading the way as the general manager of the Rams, but ultimately our head coach, Sean McVay, who looks like he's going to be here at least another 3 to 5 years, which is amazing for Rams fans to hear because, let's face it, Sean McVay is the GOAT of Rams coaches that there has ever been. Yes, we've had Dick Vermeil, and we've had Mike Martz, and we've had many great coaches that have led the Rams. But Sean McVay, he is the GOAT coaches in, I would say, retrospect of the LA Rams. And if you really think about it, this guy could probably be leading this team for the next 10 to 15 years as well. He's already coached this team for another 10 years, but he has another 10 to 15 years on him as a head coach. And truth be told, as long as they have Sean McVay at the helm of head coach, I really think this team is going to be in a position to compete every single year. Yeah, there may be some down years where maybe the Rams aren't as necessarily in the Super Bowl contending picture, but altogether, I feel like if Sean McVay and Les Snead are leading the charge, they're going to do everything that they can to make sure that the Rams have a winning product on the field. And I feel like this is really, really good news for Rams fans going into the future. And really, I mean, this is something you want to hear because just a few years ago when the Rams won the Super Bowl, Sean McVay was talking about retirement. I mean, I knew that was nonsense from the beginning, but there's no way that guy could have been talking about retirement at such an early age. So the fact that Sean McVay, Les Snead, they're all committed to the Rams going forward is a good sign. Also confirmed by the Rams on Monday by head coach Sean McVay, Raymond Bubba Ventrone will be the Rams' new special teams coordinator, and Kyle Hoke will be an assistant special teams coach. This is good news for the Rams because we were absolutely abysmal on special teams last year. We actually had to fire our special teams coach last season. So midway throughout the season, and that's never a good thing for a Super Bowl contending team. So a little bit on Ventrone. He has been a special teams coordinator or assistant special teams coordinator in the NFL for the past 11 years. He started out with the Patriots as an assistant from 2015 to 17 before being promoted to coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts from 2018 to 22. He held titles of assistant head coach and special teams coordinator with the Browns for the past 3 seasons before being hired by the Rams this past week. So good news for the Rams. We're having a guy that can lead the special teams unit, and hopefully we don't have any more blunders on special teams, or at least not as much as we did this past season. And last but not least on the Rams, the special teams coordinator position will not be the only vacancy on the Rams not head coaching, but the coaching staff in general, as it was announced that offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur on Sunday was hired by the Arizona Cardinals to be their next head coach. So it creates a vacancy at that position. Head coach Sean McVay said, "It never fails. Every time me and my wife go on vacation, somebody usually gets a head coaching job. Then I'm spending too much time on the phone." But you know what, though? Like, that's just the nature of you being a successful head coach. Talking about Sean McVay. A successful head coach will always lose their offense coordinator or the defense coordinator because, look, if you have a team that's being successful, other teams are going to want to look at what's going on around them and take. And so it's happened for many, many years. So it's basically, this is what happens in the coaching tree of the NFL. And so the Rams are going to have to find themselves a new offensive coordinator coming in very, very soon. All right, heading into some basketball news, we're going to head into some huge news heading out of the Clippers camp. James Harden, formerly of the LA Clippers, now traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. This comes from Shams Charania of ESPN. The LA Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers have agreed to a trade centered on point guards James Harden and Darius Garland. The Clippers will acquire Darius Garland, a 2-time All-Star, while the Cavaliers will land the 2018 MVP and 2025 All-NBA selection in James Harden. The Clippers will also receive Cleveland's second-round pick in 2026. Wow. So James Harden, again, is on the move now to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And now, first of all, this is horrible news for the LA Clippers. Horrible news. Let's go back into the start of the season. The Clippers started the season horribly. I forgot what their record was. They were 5 and maybe 20-something at that point. But ever since the beginning of December, heading into Christmas Day, they were on a tear. They're still on a tear. They're 15-5 since Christmas Day. They have had one of the best records since that point, and they have seemingly turned things around. Now, look, could that have just been a piece of the regular season where they were just doing well, and in the long term they were gonna fizzle out? Sure, that was all relatively possible, but in this short little snippet, they were doing really, really well, and it seemed like they were turning things around. And now this kind of just blows things up, and where can they regain some momentum? Because this feels like a momentum killer if you're a Clippers fan. And it is really, really disappointing to hear because all things considered, you thought things were kind of working out with James Harden on the Clippers. Now, look, we all know what this is about. This is about James Harden wanting to secure the bag. He wants to secure the bag, and that's his own personal agenda, and you can't blame him for wanting to get paid. You can't blame him, but the fact of the matter is James Harden does not give a single iota. He does not give a single fuck about winning. He does not. He does not give a fuck about winning whatsoever. When has James Harden ever cared about winning in the NBA? I can't recall a time. Zero. This is why he's requested out of Houston. This is why he's requested out of Brooklyn. He's requested out of Philadelphia. Where else has he been where he's requested out? Because all those other areas, all those other teams, he's requested out. Why? Because he wasn't going to get paid from them. It wasn't because the basketball wasn't winning. Right? He had been on winning situations, but it was about him securing the bag and where he was going to get paid. That's all he cares about. James Harden does not care about winning. He does not care about the team's success. That is very, very evident, because if he did care about winning, he would have stayed. He would have stayed on the Philadelphia 76ers. He would have stayed on the Houston Rockets. He would have stayed in Brooklyn. They had Kevin Durant. I was gonna call him Kevin Garnett, but they had Kevin Durant. How could you not win with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Yeah, granted, Kevin Durant was coming off an Achilles, but still, how could you not make that work? How could you not make it work with Joel Embiid, who was coming off an MVP season? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. The only thing you can relatively put your head around is that James Harden only wants to secure the bag and get himself paid, and that's exactly what is happening, because the Clippers were turning things around. And yeah, they were not going to win the title this season, but they were most likely going to be in the play-in, because they had basically turned around their season enough to be in the play-in tournament. Now, I'm going to read you off a timeline of tweets from ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, who kind of explains the James Harden situation in a nutshell. All right, first tweet. It's a quote tweet based off the Shams Charania tweet of the Clippers trading Harden to the Cavaliers. All right, so a few weeks ago, James Harden was waxing poetic about his time in LA, telling ESPN how blessed he felt to play in his hometown. I believe he was genuine in those sentiments, but this is a business decision for all involved. Garland is 10 years younger and gives the Clippers more of a future. Harden gets a chance to play on a contender and a better chance to earn some long-term security. Everyone involved knew this summer how tradable that partial guarantee on the second year of Harden's contract made him. All in all, a very different kind of exit than his last few exits. So there it is. I mean, that's basically telling you James Harden knew the Clippers weren't going to commit to him long-term, so he saw the writing on the wall and he wanted out. But again, the guy does not give a fuck about winning. If he truly cared about winning, the Clippers were turning it around. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that, well, he's going to the Cavaliers. That's going to give him a shot at winning a title this season. Guess what? When the Cavaliers don't commit to him, guess what he's going to do? It's a pattern. You've seen it in Houston, you've seen it in Philadelphia, Brooklyn, now with the Clippers. When James Harden does not get his way, he's going to request out. And I guarantee you this is going to happen in Cleveland. Okay? Look, the Cavaliers may have a shot at going to the finals this year, but they're not winning a title. Okay? See, everybody knows that, God forbid an injury to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to repeat. Okay? They may reach the Eastern Conference Finals. They could even possibly reach the finals if, luck persists. But they're not winning a title this year. Okay? The Cavaliers are not winning a title. If James Harden truly wanted to compete, he would have stayed with the Clippers. Reading off a couple more tweets from Ramona Shelburne. This is a quote from James Harden. We had a hell of a 2.5 years. We didn't reach the goals that we wanted to reach, but I think we built some great memories and we had some great wins and some fun moments for all of us. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I think both sides got what they wanted, and we are in a great place and we are happy. I'm excited about Cleveland. I'm still trying to chase my first championship and do whatever it takes to win. I can't buy that. I can't buy that. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it seems like he's going to go into a winning situation with Cleveland, but we all see the underlying here. He wants to get paid. If Cleveland won't pay him, he doesn't give a fuck. That's the point I'm trying to make here. He's trying to make it about winning when it's clearly not. And that's the part that kind of pisses me off. If you truly want fans to support you, just be honest with them. Be like, yeah, I am reaching the bag. People can see right through your bullshit, James Harden. It's a pattern here. I'm telling you guys. The minute Cleveland does not decide to commit to this guy, he's going to try and request another trade. and his value is only going to get lower and lower and lower. Yeah, he's had a great offensive season this year, but the guy still doesn't play a lick of defense. All right? And if he really truly cared about winning, he would make the sacrifices contractually to do what it takes to be on a winning organization. But that's not James Harden. That's not James Harden at all. But the Clippers do get Darius Garland, and that is a huge pickup for them going forward in the future. It gives them a solid starting point guard for their foreseeable future. It does pair him up with Kawhi Leonard now. Kawhi Leonard is his own, I can't even know what to call it. He's his own universe, okay? Kawhi Leonard, you don't know what you're going to get from him. I mean, you do know if he is healthy, he's going to be very, very productive on the court. But in terms of his availability, you do not know what you're going to get from Kawhi Leonard. You don't know if he's going to be on the team in the next 2 or 3 years. And so, but the Clippers do have a starting point guard in their possession right now, and they have an asset in Darius Garland. All right, moving off of James Harden, on to the real team that matters in Los Angeles. That is the LA Lakers. So it is reported that LeBron James is not expected to be traded at the trade deadline, which is tomorrow, actually. He's not expected to go anywhere, and he is expected to finish out his 23rd NBA season with the LA Lakers. Now, there's a lot of speculation to what LeBron James is going to do going forward into this offseason. He could retire. He could not retire. He could sign with another team. He could possibly take a team, sign with another team and sign for the max. He could take a cut. There's a lot of possibilities going forward for LeBron James, and it's still very much undecided of what he's going to do. Now, I think my own personal opinions is that LeBron James is not going to retire this season, but this will definitely be his last season with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's already overstayed his welcome. Now, I have been a LeBron James supporter since day one, since he has come to the Los Angeles Lakers. And in fact, I've supported LeBron James since he won the 2016 title with the Cavs. I really have. The fact that he went home and he brought a championship to Cleveland, he got my respect right there. Now, obviously, me being a Laker fan my entire life, I was always a Kobe Bryant's guy. But the fact that he did that with Cleveland, he got my respect. And when he came to the Lakers, I was like, look, people may have their opinions about him. He's definitely very polarizing, but the fact that he's on the team now, that means he is family. And when he's a member of the family, I'm going to support him as long as he is wearing the purple and gold. And look, this guy, he has delivered on what every intention of him coming forward to the Lakers. He's delivered on every intention. Okay, he won the 2020 title. He has brought the Lakers back to relevancy. The Lakers were not relevant in the mid 2010s. We were not. I hate to say it, but we're not. We were just living off of our past, and it was getting worse and worse every single year until LeBron James came. He elevated this franchise. He got us back into the relevancy, into the media's eyes. Not that we were ever out of it, but it was dissipating every single year. LeBron James did his job. He got us a 2020 title. We have stayed in contention for the most part ever since then. But I feel like ever since the Lakers lost to the Denver Nuggets in 2023 in the Western Conference Finals, I feel like that should have been the parting exit for LeBron James. I really do, because that was it for the AD LeBron-led Lakers teams. That was our ceiling right there. Okay, because after that, what did we do? We lost in the first round against Denver again. That's not being in championship contention. And then after that, we traded Anthony Davis, his running mate. And so it really hasn't been the same since we have lost to the Denver Nuggets in 2023 in the Western Conference Finals. And I feel like that should have been the parting exit for LeBron James. But he has remained with the team since then. Since then, he has re-signed. And then, going into this offseason, the Lakers were very, very much committed to Luka Doncic, who we had traded for. It's been 1 year. It has been 1 year since we have traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, and it is very much Luka Doncic's team now. Okay, so we're very much focused on how can we rebuild this team around Luka. Now, the Lakers have made it known they did not want to extend LeBron James any further than what they have had to. They didn't extend him in this past offseason, and so LeBron James cried about it. He did. He threw a little temper tantrum through his puppet, Rich Paul. He made a little stink about it, but ultimately, this guy has come back into this year. Now, obviously, he's in his 23rd season. I feel like everything beyond the basketball he has cried about, but in the basketball, I feel like he's done his part. He has done his job, and the numbers prove it himself. This guy is in his 23rd season. You can't expect him to be Superman out there every single night like he used to be. Okay? He's in his 23rd season. He's 41 years old, and he's still averaging 20 points a game, and he's still being very productive for somebody that's his age. Now, obviously, that can't be on a night-to-night basis. You can't depend on him on a night-to-night basis. You can't depend on him to win you games on a night-to-night basis like he used to before. And in fact, I feel like you can't depend on him to be your number 2 guy on a night-to-night basis. LeBron James, in a winning circumstance, probably needs to be like the 3rd best player on a team. And I feel like the writing is very much on the wall for what he plans to do during the summer. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to go into his 24th NBA season, but it's not going to be on the Lakers. I really do feel like what has been kind of culminating here over the last few weeks, months, a year, whatever you want to call it, LeBron James is going back to Cleveland. I think it's very evident that LeBron James will spend his final 24th NBA season wearing a Cavaliers jersey, and he's going to lead the Lakers in free agency, which is a great thing for the Lakers. You may think, well, the Lakers should trade him. They should get assets for him. One, that's very, very difficult to do depending on his contract. I mean, he could very much well retire too. That's always a possibility. So teams aren't going to take the risk on sending out assets for a guy that could just retire, unless they were like right there in that championship window. Then I feel like they would do it. Like the team like the Knicks would probably do it. But they have their eyes set on Giannis Antetokounmpo right now. But I feel like LeBron, his eyes are set on to retire with the Cavs next season. Him going to the Cavs. They already have James Harden. They have Evan Mobley. They have Donovan Mitchell. They have an all-star set of guys there. And if LeBron James joins those guys, then they would be a championship team, I feel like. But I think he is going to retire as a Cav. And like I said, I think it's a great, great thing for the Lakers, because now the Lakers would have over $50 million in cap space to use on free agents going forward into this upcoming summer. I feel like this upcoming summer is going to be huge for the Lakers. It's going to be the summer where new management, Mark Walter, and that group can finally put their imprint on what they want this team to be centered around. And it's going to be centered around Luka, but they can finally put their imprint and their paws on how to shape this team and how to mold this team. I think it's going to be a beautiful summer for the Lakers going forward, because finally we're going to have ownership that's going to be able to treat this franchise the way they should be treated and invest a lot into this franchise. So I feel like LeBron James's days as a Laker is numbered. He's going to get through this season. And I feel like this season in general, it's a wash. It's a wash. We're going to be competitive. If the Lakers are very lucky, we're going to get to the Western Conference Finals. That's if we're very lucky. But truth of the matter is, we're not going to win a title this season. Not with the roster that we have constructed. It's not going to happen. Like I said about the Clippers and the Cavs. OKC, they're going to repeat. God forbidding an injury, they're going to repeat. And so, look at it as a whole. You can't expect the Lakers to win a title this season when the odds are not even remotely in their favor. OKC is going to win it. And so what you do is you kind of just treat this season as a wash. Obviously, we're still going to compete out there. We're going to be a playoff team. We could get to the second round, even possibly the Western Conference Finals. But that's going to be it. But it's not about this year. It's about building around Luka Doncic over the next 10 years. Now, as far as the NBA trade deadline that's coming up tomorrow, there's not a whole lot of buzz going around the Lakers. I mean, I can't really think of any. I haven't really seen any rumored trades for the Lakers other than what was rumored about a week ago with DeAndre Hunter and Rui Hachimura, but that's not going to happen. DeAndre Hunter has already been traded to Sacramento. And so I haven't really seen anything else on that front. If you guys know of any other trades, that could be possibly done, feel free to comment. But I mean, I can't see anything that's going to be done over the next 24 hours going into the trade deadline. But I think the big picture here going into this summer is if Giannis Antetokounmpo is not traded from the Milwaukee Bucks, then I think the Lakers have a huge opportunity to make a trade for Giannis in the summer. I think that's going to be a major focal point for the Lakers going forward into the summer. And even if he is traded, I mean, God forbidding he signs an extension with that team, the Lakers could still try to make a trade for him. So I think it's all relative. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo will be a trade target for the Lakers going forward into the summer. But as far as right now, I don't really see any trades that are going to bolster up the team, as far as making us a title contender. And I think right now the focus is on just getting past this season with Luka, staying healthy. Yeah, making a playoff run as much as you can. But really, the eyes going forward is to getting LeBron James off this team. Because, like I said, he has overstayed his welcome. He has definitely overstayed his welcome on the Lakers. Time to get him out. Time to refresh this franchise. And let's get another huge star. Let's use his money to get a star in Los Angeles, or maybe a couple of guys here in LA, to bolster up this team and bolster it up where we can build around Luka Doncic for the next 10 years and be competing for a championship for the next 10 years under Luka Doncic. All right, some news and notes on the LA Dodgers before we get out of here. Pitchers and catchers are supposed to report to spring training. Yeah, spring training is already here, guys. It's coming up next week in Camelback Ranch in Arizona. That's the usual destination spot for Dodgers spring training. But pitchers and catchers already reported to go back into spring training coming up. And so an exciting time for baseball fans. Man, baseball has the shortest offseason that in any sport. And it feels like the Dodgers just won back-to-back World Series. And I mean, what has it been, like 2 or 3 months? 2 or 3 months since then? I feel like football, you have to wait like an entire year. It's not an entire year, but it's like 8 months of the offseason. But in baseball, it's like 2 or 3 months. They have the longest season, shortest offseason. But all that said, pitchers and catchers report next Friday, I believe, February 13th. And then the full squad, they're reporting February 17th into spring training. And the first spring training game will be February 26th versus the LA Angels. And can the Dodgers look for back-to-back a three-peat for the World Series? That's going to be the questions coming up. And can the Dodgers just stay healthy? I feel like we've already made moves to keep us on track, and it's really just about staying healthy when the team, needs for us to stay healthy, and that's August and September, and that's going to be crucial for the Dodgers making their pitch to making a three-peat. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for today's podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in as usual. Like I said before, you guys can follow us on X, you can follow us on TikTok, you can follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. Hit like, subscribe, follow us on all of our social medias. You can ask any questions you want at laceemuptakes@gmail.com. We will gladly read any emails that you send. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. See ya.